It's the 1930s, and America is in the grips of the Great Depression. The U.S. Army Air Corps, a precursor to the modern U.S. Air Force that was under the U.S. Army at the time, are struggling to show the new capabilities and power of military aircraft. The Navy and the U.S. Army Air Corps disagree about the power of bombers to sink Navy ships. The Navy thought that their massive, strong ships could never be sunk by a comparatively tiny flying machine, while the Army Air Corps recognized the rising power of the bomber. There was animosity and competitiveness between the two sides as they competed for budgets and recognition of their importance as part of the US military. So in 1937, the Army Air Corps challenged the Navy to a military exercise to settle the debate. The Navy would hide a target ship out to sea, and the Air Corps would try to find it, then conduct a bombing run with 50-pound dummy bombs filled with water. The exercise would last 24 hours, and the Navy would eventually, at a random time, give out the coordinates of the ship to the Army Air Corps, and the bombers would rush to complete the bombing mission. The Navy decided to make the test difficult for the Air Corps by choosing to conduct the test in August of 1937, off the west coast of the United States, when the weather was often cloudy and foggy, making locating the ship very difficult for the bombers. The Navy used the old battleship USS Utah as their target ship. The US Army Air Corps would use B-17 bombers to drop the dummy bombs on the ship. On board one of the B-17s was future Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force, Curtis LeMay, who acted as a navigator. As the 24 hours of the test ticked by, the Navy delayed giving out the coordinates of the Utah until late in the afternoon. The B-17s raced to the coordinates, only to find that the Navy had deliberately given out the wrong coordinates, and the Utah wasn't there. The B-17s, guided by LeMay, rushed to find the target ship, as the final minutes of the exercise approached. With just 10 minutes to go before the end of the exercise, the Utah was finally spotted about 60 miles from the coordinates given by the Navy. Navigator LeMay had found the Utah. The sailors on board the Utah didn't expect to be found, and as the B-17s lined up for their bombing run, there were sailors all over the decks. Despite the enormous danger to the sailors, the bombers dropped their bombs anyway, striking the Utah from 400 feet with 50-pound dummy bombs. While the dummy bombs likely wouldn't cause huge damage to the ship, 50-pound projectiles traveling at the B-17's cruising speed of 182 miles an hour, or 293 kilometers an hour, could kill and injure sailors who were on deck. Several men were injured by flying pieces of the Utah's deck, but as far as I can tell, no sailors were killed by this bombing test. Even after the successful bombing, the Navy said that they could have evaded the attack, so the exercise was repeated the next day. This time, the bombers managed to hit the ship even more accurately, from 18,000 feet. The disregard for the safety of the sailors on the deck of the Utah shows the extreme competitiveness between the Navy and the Army Air Corps, and LeMay and others' terrible ruthlessness when it came to proving their point. This exercise also acted as an early warning sign of aircraft's ability to effectively sink ships. But many of the world's most ardent battleship supporters failed to take note until the bombing of Pearl Harbor and the sinking of the HMS Prince of Wales and HMS Repulse in 1941. I have a video on the sinking of the HMS Repulse and Prince of Wales that you can check out here if you're interested, and check out my other videos for further interesting topics. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.